Last offseason, in some previous episodes of The Wind Read, I ranked from first to last my favorite majors and Elite Series tournaments from 2022. The best tournament of the year, in my opinion, was the European Open. It delivered in every possible way that disc golf fans could ask for, and it's almost here again. My name is Mason, and welcome to The Wind Read. The European swing is upon us, and while some like Paul McBeth and Bradley Williams, and of course the top Europeans, have already been competing across the pond, things are about to change. A whole new slew of talent has booked their flights, and I think that the 2023 European swing could rival or even maybe surpass the magic that we witnessed last year. Let's get into the why. First, if you missed the European swing last year, let me catch you up to speed. Things kicked off at the PCS Open, which was a silver event last year. This is of note because this year it's going to be an elite event. The stakes are going to be higher this year in beautiful Norway. In 2022, there was a surprisingly strong field in MPO for a European silver event. Calvin Heimberg and James Conrad and Kevin Jones were in attendance, just to name a few. However, we got to witness a nail-biter of a final round as the young Czech Jakub Semerad battled against none other than your 2018 world champion, Greg Barsby. Circle 2 putts were getting drained left and right, and the gallery was incredible, and it went to a playoff, one in which Greg Barsby secured the title. Of course, what followed was my favorite tournament of 2022, the European Open, where some of the best disc golf our sport has ever witnessed was played. And I'm not being hyperbolic. And it wasn't done by one single person, but by two, as Eagle McMahon and Paul McBeth pushed one another and placed themselves on a pedestal high above the rest of the field. This wasn't your average tournament dominance, no. The 2022 European Open was record-shattering. How large of a gap between second and third place at an MPO major in our current day and age would be surprising to you? What, 6 strokes, 7 strokes, maybe even 9 or 10? Need I remind you that at the European Open last year, Paul McBeth finished ahead of Kevin Jones in third place by an incomprehensible 16 strokes, the largest gap between second and third at a major in disc golf history. Paul shot a 1072 event rating and he didn't win. Eagle shot 1074, the highest major event rating in disc golf history. These two played at the same time on a level at a major that may never be seen again. And on the FPO side, though there were no massive records broken, the finish was just as exciting as Paige Pierce and Evelina Salonen battled to the 18th green. That is why the European Open was my favorite tournament of the year. Even then, I think the European swing will be just as exciting, if not more so, this year. The first reason is that the Sula Open is now an Elite Series event. I personally put a lot of emphasis on a tournament's location, and the Overas Disc Golf Park might be the most scenic spot on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Its remoteness, this Viking theme, the fact that it's played along a gorgeous fjord, all of this heightens the experience of the tournament even more so now that it's being elevated to an elite event. The field will be substantially stronger on both the MPO and FPO sides of things. It's going to be must-watch disc golf and an explosive precursor to the European Open. The day before the European Open, however, will be the President's Cup, a fan-favorite event that is essentially Europe versus the USA. If you've kept up with the history of the President's Cup, you'll know that the USA has gone 10 for 10 in wins at this event, but there's one factor added to the mix this year that was absent last year, and that factor is, of course, Kristen Tatar. Will she finally help push Team Europe over the edge to break the US winning streak? I'm interested to see. The next reason I'm excited for the European swing is something I mentioned earlier, and that's the strength of the field. Missy Gannon, Kristen Tatar, Sarah Holcomb, Ella Hansen, Rebecca Cox, Chris Dickerson, Kyle Klein, Matty O, Anthony Barella, Isaac Robinson, Aaron Gossage, Corey Ellis, Alden Harris, and many more. These are just a few of the names that are registered for the European Open that did not make the trip last year. A stronger field means more competition, means more fantastic disc golf. And many of these names will be participating in the Sula Open as well. Only 5 out of the top 25 ranked players in MPO are not slated to attend, the most notable of those being Gannon, Burr, and Simon Lizotte. Besides those two, the field is fairly stacked. Many of these names will be competing on the Beast for the first time, and it will be interesting to see how they adapt to this opposing track. This course in Nokia, though it has some wooded technicality sprinkled throughout, is mostly a course that focuses on accurate distance. The players that are best from tee to green will have a real, genuine advantage here. I could see Aaron Gossage or Ella Hansen or Anthony Barella making a run possibly. There's also the vast amounts of European talent that have experience on the course. Maybe Niklas Antila makes another run at a major. He's finished in second place in the last 2 majors he's played, and I think is a genuine threat for the title here. There's a lot of great storylines. Will Kristen Tatar continue to dominate the majors? Has Paul Macbeth lulled us to sleep only to once again make a run? He's won this event 5 times and is seen to have found his stride once again. Ricky's looked great lately coming off of his win at the Preserve, and of course, Eagle McMahon with what he did last year, there's no way you can count him out. And lastly, Calvin Heimberg, will he finally get the major title to cap off an incredible season? I'm very excited to see how this strengthened field plays out in Finland. And the last thing that gets me ecstatic for the European swing is the crowds. If you've not seen a European gallery before, you are in for a treat. Finland shows up in force consistently for the European Open, and the crowds seem to grow year after year after year. This might not seem like a giant deal from a purely disc golf perspective, but it creates an atmosphere that is electric, and our world's best either crumble or thrive off of this energy. This is exactly what we witnessed last year between Macbeth and McMahon. The European swing is here, and I'm like a kid on Christmas. Gorgeous courses, massive galleries, and a showcase of European disc golf culminate to make this one of my favorite stretches of the season. I just have a feeling that this year we are in for some fireworks. I cannot wait to watch it here on the Disc Golf Network. Thank you so much for joining me on the Wind Read. Until the next one.